Hello, everyone. This position is from the second round of the Tata Steel chess tournament, and with the white pieces was Anish Giri, and with the black pieces was Vladimir Kramnik. Now we pick it up here after 16 moves. This is a stressful position to say the least. It's pretty complicated and easy to steer wrong. Here, Gary's move, and just quickly, we just want to look at the position. Um, you can see that the position is pretty much equal. Both sides have their issues. For instance, black has these pawns. It's backward B pawn, it's D pawn, and E pawn, for example. Um, these squares are excellent uh, for white to use against black. So black has those weaknesses in the position to go along with the pawn. But um, black has for his side of things, he has beautiful presence in the center, beautiful piece coordination with his knights there, and also G4 is a good square for him, and especially E4. And white has these double pawns on an open C file. All right, so it's um, the weighing of these factors from both sides that caused me to come to the conclusion that the positions are pretty equal. If you want to give white maybe a slight advantage because he has the bishop here, okay, but uh, not too much more than that. All right. Now, in this particular position, Gary played the move knight d4, as he's going to start to get to work on these pawn weaknesses here. Kramnik played the move knight f6, and it's a natural move, wanting to just simply exchange bishops here. Another interesting move to try to stay a little bit more active in the position was a move like bishop a6, challenging this pawn. Then play could have went, say, knight b5, for example, guarding the pawn, and d5. The idea is for black to basically begin to liquidate some of his weaknesses. Yes, at the same time, he gets rid of white's weaknesses too, but the game remains equal. Kramnik chose another option. He just simply played knight f6. So Gary created his bishop. Bishop takes b7. Knight takes b7. Rook takes a8. Rook takes a8. So some pieces come off the board. But now it seems that black's weaknesses are magnified. So I guess what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that it seems to me that the exchange of pieces has is more or less caused white's advantage to increase uh, more than black's uh, disadvantage decreased. It seems that white all of a sudden has a lot more pressure since the congestion has been cleared off the E file, and I feel that since we mentioned that was one of Kramnik's major trumps at the beginning of the analysis, is having a beautiful piece coordination. Uh, the bishop on b7, knight on e4, etc. And those pieces, besides being beautifully coordinated on e4 square, were protecting these pawns, and now they've been uncovered. Meanwhile, there's really not a lot of pressure on Gary's pawns here, and this is what allows him to be able to just attack without worrying about consequences. Now, of course, Kramnik, being a very strong grandmaster, has planned that he's going to bring this rook back here and attack these pawns. But the question is it going to be enough play to stop Geary's initiative. Another thing too is that dark square bishop is very powerful and has no counterpart. Let's keep going. So rook c8, there it is, attacking this pawn. Queen a2. So Geary's willing to part with this pawn and to gain this pawn, and he takes over the open file. d5 from Kramnik. Now bishop g5 from Giri. Now it seems that this move is quite playable. Bishop takes b6. Right? I don't really see any major fault with this move. Giri opts for this pin right here. And rook takes c4 by Kramnik. Very natural move. Again, he's just following his positional signs and attacking the double pawns. However, black has to be careful of his back rank. All right. And this is what Giri exploits here. He plays queen a8 check. King f7, right? Everything looks good. But now rook a1. And notice how Giri has taken full control over the only open file here. And now there's threats in the position of rook a7 with this pin on the queen and king. Now stuff starts to heat up. So knight a5. So Kramnik figures, okay, have the solution. Now I'm going to block the action on this a file. Queen b8, attacking this pawn right here. Kramnik plays c6. Kramnik is trying to hold on to that material. Knight d4. So now Gary's again wanting to trade pawns here. The c pawn for the b pawn. Kramnik says deal, and there it goes. However, with the fall of the b pawn, there's this knight all alone, and now the threats are renewed to come and invade the position with the pieces, with the heavy pieces, and again, this pin situation is deadly. So knight c4. This is the move Kramnik has in mind to offset the idea of the rook being able to come here. Queen b8. Again, with the same idea of just bringing the rook here to a7. And now Kramnik, perhaps the best move here was just rook a3 a3, just confronting this rook on a1. However, after rook b1, there's really no stopping the rook from getting up there. So then, to prevent this pin of the queen, black probably has to play a move like king g6 or something like that. Then rook b7, and let's say queen e8, right? You have the knight here, just trying to trade off. Whoops, sorry. And this doesn't look too good for black either. However, it seems like the yeah, you dropped this pawn here. It seems like the lesser of two evils, although he probably would have gotten ground down in this ending. However, so Kramnik decides to take it to tactics, and he figures he will attack the knight and basically trade queens like this and go into the endgame this way and end all of the pinning motifs. However, Giri found very strong continuation, and I'm sure Kramnik probably missed this last move in the combination. So knight d7 was played, bishop takes e7, knight takes e7, just like Kramnik wanted, and now bishop b4. All of a sudden, this rook finds itself with no safe place to go. And this was basically the move that this move bishop b4, I'm sure Kramnik overlooked. Kramnik goes on with e5. He could have resigned at that point. Rook a7 from Giri, and then he just snatches the rook. See, e takes d4. Bishop takes d4. Knight c6. Rook takes g7 check. King f8, and the rest is just a quick demolition by Giri. And after bishop f6, Vladimir had enough and resigned. So good game by Giri. Uh, he put Kramnik under a lot of pressure, saddled him with those, with those weak pawns. Of course, he took on weak pawns, and this is a big part of chess is imbalances. Just imbalances in the position. Just you have some your baggage. Your opponent has some baggage, and you just playing chess here. And again, like from this position, it just seemed to me that Kramnik might have dropped the ball by because these pieces are beautiful right here. They should stay. This is good. At least these two knights here. Like I said, Bishop A6. Attacking White's weakness without exposing his own weakness seems like the way to go because after all of these trades, it was like the king was disrobed or whatever. All of a sudden Kramnik's weaknesses were just too exposed, and Gary just latched on and just won the game in real good manner. Of course, he had a little help from Kramnik here, but it's hard to blame him. This sequence of moves was real nice, taking over the A file and trading the C and B pawns, and then finally he caused Kramnik to crack, and then of course seeing this move at the end. Um, Beautiful play by Gary. So that was it. That's a game from round two. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.